So not only is Hillary Clinton winning the most hated candidate in the country contest, she's winning. She's beating Donald Trump.
No.
Rasmussen says that more people think she's dishonest than Donald Trump.
Yes, but her unfavorables, though, that you just posted.
Right.
Donald Trump was at 58%. She was in the high 40s, I think.
No, she's 50. She's like just a couple percent. She's in the 50s also. Her unfavorables? Oh, yeah. So, in fact, can you look up Hillary Clinton's unfavorables for me, Arno? So, not only it's getting horrible, right? Not only is it horrible that more people think Donald Trump is more honest than Hillary Clinton.
Oh my God!
But now it comes out that all that stuff she's been saying about the emails, which I've ignored, I'm not anymore, because Barack Obama appointed an inspector general to go ahead and take a look at the email thing to clear it all up so we can get this all over with. Well, what were the results? Here comes the results. Ready? Mike, let's listen to Mika Brzezinski give us the results, shall we? Here we go.
Yesterday, the Inspector General's Office of the State Department issued a report that concluded Hillary Clinton violated the Federal Records Act by not turning over all official emails before she left office. The report also found that there was no evidence she had requested or received approval to use her personal account for official business. Clinton all along has maintained the use of her server was allowed.
Oh, well, the Inspector General says all that? I'm sure she has a good excuse for it. Let me hear it. Because here's what she was saying before the Inspector General's report. Here's what she was saying.
My personal email use was fully above board. It was allowed by the State Department, as they have confirmed.
What I did was allowed by the State Department, but it wasn't the best choice. And I have been as transparent as I know to be.
And you said it was allowed, too.
Yes, it was.
Who allowed it?
It was allowed under the rules of the State Department. And again...
So nobody signed off on it?
No, it was allowed. One of my predecessors did the same thing. Others in our government have done the same thing at very high levels, because the rules did change after I left the State Department.
Turns out that's all a lie. And you wonder why she has a 52% unfavorable rating.
But at the time and in prior years, the rules allowed it.
Well, as I have said many times, that was absolutely permitted, and I did it, and it turned out to be a mistake. It wasn't the best choice.
So now we're going to come back to the studio. Mika Brzezinski, you can see that this news is physically paining her. Watch, because it's like this. It's like all of a sudden. Here, well, let's watch.
Two State Department officials raised concerns about Clinton's exclusive use of a private email server. A senior official in Clinton's office told them the matter was not to be discussed any further. He instructed them to, quote, never to speak of the secretary's personal email system again.
That was also in the report, that when people said something about it who worked for it, they were told by high-level officials, don't ever talk about this email thing again. That was their directive. That's in the report.
Yeah.
The report also makes clear that had she sought permission to use her own server as the instrument through which all of her email traffic passed, such a request would have been denied.
Denied. So here we go. There's more to this. I don't know why, but a part of me is getting joy out of watching Mika Brzezinski painfully report the actual news, because this is surprising to her. Like, oh my God, I'm a news person who gets paid I'm sure millions of dollars to do this show, Mika Brzezinski, and she has access to one of the most powerful and well-moneyed news organizations in the world, NBC News. And all this is coming to her as a shock. She looks, you know what she looks like? She looks like Mitt Romney after he lost the election. Like, oh my God, the polls were right. Here we go. Watch this.
A statement about the IG report, which read in part this: the Inspector General's documents show just how consistent her email practices were with those of other secretaries and senior officials at the State Department who also used personal email.
Okay, so none of that's true. right? So that's her statement about it. She released a statement. That's not true. And we know it's not true because of what the Inspector General just said. That's her statement after the Inspector General's report. That's her statement. Complete lie. And let's watch how Mika takes this. Ready?
Well, it's just not, even the statement is not accurate.
Listen to what. Look at what our favorite plagiarist says about it. That's kind of funny if you hear what he says. Listen.
Consistent her email practices were with those of other secretaries and senior officials at the State Department who also used personal email.
Well, it's just not, even the statement is not accurate.
I know. Joining us now, National.
Did you hear? I know.
Listen, I wish
know.
there was more news delivered this way from like a petulant person who was really grouchy, because then you know it's real news.
Yeah.
They're telling it to you because even though they don't want to.
Yeah, she obviously does not want to deliver this news.
Like if Fox News is like, I really don't want to tell you this, but I'm
But this
required.
is MSNBC. This is Micah going, she seemed like such a nice person who took millions and millions of dollars from the people she was supposed to be regulating.
By the way, there's probably somebody at RNC headquarters who's like, I can't believe this worked.
Yeah,
We've been throwing stuff at this woman forever. I can't believe we actually got one.
The email thing's sticking. It's sticking. And so here they bring on Andrea Mitchell. And listen, watch Mike and Andrea just in pain over this, in pain that an establishment is going down.
Personal email use was fully above board.
There we go. Hang on, I'm sorry.
The State Department, she violated the Official Records Act according to her own State Department IG appointed by President Obama. What you have shown just now, Mika, is completely undercuts the argument she's been making for more than a year, just as she is trying to persuade voters that she's not untrustworthy. I think that the most surprising and in some ways shocking thing is their reaction, claiming that this is the same as what former secretaries did, the comparison they're making to Colin Powell. The facts are that Colin Powell was the first Secretary of State to ever use email. He used it specifically to try to launch the State Department into the new century and try to get people to communicate by email. He was using it as an example. He did use some personal emails. He didn't always separate them, but it was a completely above board. Everybody in the State Department knew what he was doing. It was not, in fact, violating a rule that was put in place under Clinton, not after she left. It was in place under Clinton, and she was warned beforehand of decades of this Records Act that prohibits you to leave the State Department, to leave any agency, and not turn over your records. So there are so many flaws in their argument, and the politics, we'll have to see how that plays out. But I don't see how this is anything but devastating, given the fact that they have been making a completely different argument now for more than a year.
Pretty devastating. That's Andrea Mitchell, who just last week was telling Bernie Sanders, why don't you quit criticizing Hillary Clinton? Why are you criticizing? It's like 2-on-1. Do you remember we played it? There's a video on this channel of her doing that. Bernie, it's like you're beating up on her, and Donald Trump is beating up on her, and now her numbers are going down because you guys are beating up on her. I don't know. Maybe this is why her numbers are going down. Maybe it's not anything. Maybe it's because of her record. Maybe it's because that she's lying even right now afterwards. She's caught red-handed. To the point where Mika is crestfallen. I don't know if that's the right word.
I think Andrea Mitchell's pretty crestfallen too.
Also,
Andrea Mitchell is on the border right here of like looking in the camera going, I'm married to Alan Greenspan. I'm totally in the bag for this woman. I couldn't be happy. Like, I want all of her not changing the way the finance industry works. I'm totally up for. So I really resent having to report this.
Yeah. Yeah, she's, by the way, I'm the wife of Alan Greenspan. I like what Hillary Clinton's doing with Wall Street. It really hurts me I'm up for all the money in politics. I'm up for bigger income disparities since the Gilded Age. That's what Andrea Mitchell's all about. She's Mrs. Greenspan. Let's remember that. That's her husband. There's another video of Bernie Sanders dressing down Alan Greenspan on this channel. Watch that. Go ahead, Jim.
Well, Hillary did release a statement today saying that she did know she was breaking the rules, but she did not inhale.
You know what, Jimmy? I wanted to add that
Sure, add.
her campaign chairman, John Podesta, sent a memo to all their donors this past weekend, and it said Clinton acknowledges the server was a mistake.
Yeah, she just says she calls it a mistake.
And what she thought would be a convenient way to communicate with family and friends and colleagues by using one email account has turned out to be anything but convenient.
Yeah, not convenient.